Favorite songs don't exist, okay? If someone asks you what your favorite song is and you answer them, you're wrong. That's not a thing. You can't have a favorite song. But if someone walked up to me and they were like, what's your favorite guitar solo? I'd play this. Simple answer, no? No. Let's make this deeper than it actually is, okay? What does favorite mean? Is it like a deserted island situation? They throw you on an island, they only give you that song, you can only listen to that song? I don't think so. I think for most people, even when they do say, this is my favorite song, it's their favorite song for like many reasons. I don't think I know anyone who would just be like, yeah, this is my favorite song, let's just like deal with it. I don't think anyone can say that. But if you can, fight me, please. Do you like this position, by the way? I don't. I want to sit down. So why is that guitar solo my favorite guitar solo? It's pretty simple. It's just because of my history with that song. That's it. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that bell. There's a lot of things that could change your perspective on a song, especially if you were in a certain emotional state when you listen to that song for the first time. So if I were to pull out a song now that I haven't heard before, and I'm like petting Larry and having fun, right? Every time I listen to that song, it's gonna remind me of this. It's just simple, bro. Rust in Peace was one of the first metal albums that I like really got into, right? When I was like, I don't know, 15, 14, 13, 12. Okay, that's a lie. I was not that young. I was probably around 18, 17. It was around 2014. I found some footage of me playing, but I only found myself playing Tornado of Souls. So here's how bad that was. And right now when I listen to the song, it just takes me back to that time where, you know, I was young, I was getting into guitar and stuff. It just instantly brings me back to my history with guitar, essentially. So what I'm basically saying is this is my favorite solo because of the amount of history I have with it, the amount of emotion I associate with it, and just the sheer time that I've been listening to it, right? Would that have actually happened if the solo did not captivate me in the first place? If hearing it for the first time didn't make me go, holy f***, this is sexy. I'm gonna sound like such a boomer right now, but just like bear with me. I had the album on tape. I don't know how or where we found the tape of Megadeth, Rust in Peace in our house. And I started playing it in the car when we would go to school and stuff. My mom would be driving. And I can't really skip tracks, you know, I can fast forward and stuff, I think. I don't remember how tape works. But essentially when you're listening to tape and something grabs your attention, you can't just instantly know where you are. You have to like, oh, take a look at the tape, what track might this be? And because I was just starting guitar and like that captured me, like I was like, shit, I've never heard guitar being played like that. Like the emotions, the raw emotion coming out of it. That sounds like Donald Trump. Just the raw emotion coming out of that guitar was like fascinating to me and I wanted to replicate it. So I started learning it. The solo has a clear Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and it's articulated so well that it serves the story so well, and you don't even notice it, but you feel it. And if you want to try to play the solo, you're like, oh shit, the articulation here is whack, or like this arpeggio is hard, you know? Obviously. And those are all the building blocks that would lead up to that story being told, right? You can't have one without the other. You can't have bad articulation and an amazing story being told. Unless bad articulation is your story, I don't know. Your music is a story being told to someone, and how they perceive that story is just a reflection of their own story. You can't write their past for them through your music. You can only play music that kind of reflects something that resembles their past. Does that make sense? I'm not on drugs, I swear. You know that feeling when you listen to a song you've never heard and then it kind of gives you memories you never really had, or like you feel nostalgic for something that never happened? Yeah. Essentially, if your music has that raw emotion and storytelling, the listener would be able to see it as a reflection of their own experiences. We can't really write the listener's past for them. We can't write their memories. We can't create that instant bond that they're gonna have with our music. But you can make your music feel like it already has that stuff on its own. And then the listener would be able to relate to it. Like, oh, this sounds so whack. So take something as simple as this lick, right? In the solo, it's played right here, and then he plays the octave. So that already created a reference for the listener. Oh, I already know this, but it's being played a bit higher. What is it gonna lead to, right? This is storytelling. This is setting up events. But this long ass bend led to what I call the, what do we call this? Like when shit hits the fan, you know? There's like act 3, shit is hitting the fan, and then it's about to like taper off. And that's the part, right? This is shit hitting the fan. This is basically the main event of the solo, that everything leading up to it was basically just serving leading up to it. Is this gonna happen? And then boom, it happened. Tornado of Souls, same thing. And if you look at all the great solos that you love, they all have this part where shit hits the fan. You need the shit to hit the fan, because if you create that tension, it's gonna keep raising the shit up. At some point, it's gonna hit the fan. If you don't hit the fan with the shit, listeners are just gonna feel like they've been let down, like they've been led through this journey for no purpose. And you don't want that. Let's go back to the opening lick. It's just so dynamic. All the notes are like shifting a half step. They're like sliding in between each other. And this already established how dynamic the solo is, because you don't expect the first lick to be this long, right? Yeah. And then the relief is turned into a different type of tension. Tension release. But at the same time, tension build again. That's such an intense and long lick that by the end of it, you want that bend. And Marty gives it to you. He's like, here, take, bro, this is a bend that goes up all the way. And then we just go into bending, which feels like it's really needed at this point. So all these bends were just releasing the tension from when shit hits the fan. And then the section after that is just saying goodbye, you know, like the people are coming back home, tying the last pieces of the story together so that it's just cohesive. It feels like these two bends were two characters that were with us throughout this. They're just telling each other now, like, thank God it's done, like we went through it, now we just have to finish up, right? I feel like that resonates with the listener too, because bend is just such a singular thing. It's just so serene, and I can play the same lick and make it sound, you know, more bluesy. Now, I also want to talk about something that's very obvious, is that this solo is technically very rich, that it's very fun to play. And if you enjoy learning new techniques, then you're going to enjoy playing it over and over again, because you're just going to keep making your technique better. So for example, take this minor arpeggio. You've heard it a million times, right? But in the context that we were given it in, not only were we descending, we were also skipping a note. So it also creates expectation, because you know that we're skipping a note, but we're coming back to the note that we skipped. So after this ascending lick, Marty sweeps up, but then he provides for us the release right after. So that half bend here was kind of like a half release. It's delaying that release. And this is the actual release. Pretty great stuff, bro. And there's a lot of storytelling in this solo that you can't really explain. You can just, well, I just kind of tried. I can talk about this stuff all day because it's so personal, but at the same time it's not, because you can ground it with music theory. I do actually talk about it all day in my course, Improve Your Improv, which is for the intermediate player to make them be able to think about this stuff on the spot. In the course, we go through all the theory, all the technique you need to start building your own solos. So we learn a concept, we see how we can apply it in a fun way, and then we learn another concept, we learn how we can apply it in a fun way, then we add them together. The point of the course is to make everything embedded in your brain, where like, oh, I don't have to think about that. This is just my musical expression. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to learn more about the course. You can use the code MARTY for 25% off. Now, what are your favorite guitar solos and why? Leave a comment down below and let me know.